I think I got confused with permutation generator and favorite nums, so I apologize for that for those that I gave the wrong information to. And I'm going to start over with the whole fav nums idea. So really the point of this exercise is for you to get practice creating an array list of custom objects, objects that you've created via your own custom class. So I've created num tester to hold my main, and then I've gone and I've created another class file as instructed called favnums. And notice I've made an int as my instance variable, and I've made a constructor that takes an integer in and sets the instance variable. I've also done your traditional getter and setter. Here, because my parameter name is the same as my instance variable name, I've used this dot, meaning this version of a favorite num, the one that's the instance variable, this one, set it equal to the parameter version of a favorite num that's passed in. Now here I went back to the way we're used to doing it, where I use a different name for the parameter. So I do a favorite num equals num in, which is my parameter. I could have also done the same thing here. I could have taken this line and copied it, pasted it here, and changed this to a favorite num again, and used the this operator. So two different ways of doing that. So now I'm back to my main class, and notice I've done my import of the array list. And so here I've created the array list of favorite num objects. And I do that by, in the angle brackets, instead of using string or integer, I'm actually going to put in the name of the custom class that I just created, favnums. So now I have an array list of favnums, and basically it just, each one of these will hold each favnum object that I create holds a single integer. So now I'm going to create three favnum objects, and I'm going to add them to the array list. So I've called the array list name X, and so I'm going to use my add method, and I'm going to use x.add, and then in the parentheses I'm going to pass the second half of the typical constructor statement, the part that comes after the equal sign. So I'm going to pass in new favnums1, and that's going to call the constructor and set that instance variable equal to 1. Then I'm going to create a second favnums object, add it to the array list X. It's going to hold the number 22, and then here's my third one that holds the number 96. So I've got three favnum objects in an array list, and the array list now has three elements in it, each one being an individual favnum object holding one integer apiece. Now I could have several instance variables in favnums, and I would have three favnum objects with multiple instance variables. That is allowed. So now I want to print out the values in the favnums in X, which is a favnums array list. And I'm going to use an enhanced for loop to do it. Notice here I put favnums, which is the array list type. Here I put the I that's going to represent the whole array list. And then here I put the name of the actual array list that this will represent. Then in my print line, notice I don't use X dot. I use the letter or name that I've created here in the enhanced for loop. So I use I, but then I do use the methods I created in favnum. I use the getNum getter method to print that out. If I try to use X here, I'm not going to get the results I expect. I'm actually going to get an error telling me that I can't find the getNum method of X, so I've got to put I in here. And that will actually print out your values if you run it. I've already run it and verified it prints out 122 and then 96. Now I had originally asked you to sort this using the collections class from the Java API. However, I had thought you could sort an array list of custom objects as long as they were integers or strings, but it turns out you can't. You can sort array lists that have integer in the angle brackets or string in the angle brackets. But when you start making array lists of custom objects, you can't use that collections sort method anymore. So we're going to find there are different ways, there are several different algorithms for sorting arrays and array lists, and we're going to find this out in semester 2 sometime after winter break. I think it's around chapter 11, sorting and searching. So in the meantime, we'll just print out the array list in unsorted order. It's in the order that they were entered. And I hope that you start to see the complexity of creating an array list of custom objects. You have to use the constructor to add each object instance to the array list, and then when you print out, you have to go back and use your getter methods for the array list in the print line statement. And notice how tricky it was to do that with the enhanced for loop. So let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully this lecture will help.